Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another Principled Tuesday night call sponsored by Dynamic Essentials and Band of Brothers all over the world, which is really appropriate for tonight's talk. First of all, we want to bring up that DE is coming up July 18th. Get ready, get your room, go ahead and get your mind straight and get ready to celebrate July. We're going to be in Atlanta. We'll be back at the perimeter. So July 18th through the 21st is Summer DE. Make sure you make your arrangements, book your flights, get your room, and all that kind of good jazz. The next 4 DEs are already scheduled, so go ahead and put those on your calendar. We've got July 18th. We've got October 24th through the 27th, January in Clearwater again, and April back in Clearwater. So we've got 2 in Atlanta, 2 in Clearwater, and we are ready to go. During the October DE, we are going to be celebrating our gala. That is going to be something special. So we have the 60th anniversary of Dynamic Essentials, and we are going to celebrate and share that. It's going to be a James Bond themed formal evening. Dudes, get your tuxes. Ladies, get your sequins. Everybody get ready to look good and have a good time, celebrate all the wonderful things that DE is and has done in all of our lives. So that won't be hard to celebrate. Make sure you get your tickets. You do need a ticket to come to this gala. So get your tickets. They are on sale on the DE website. So we are Band of Brothers around the world, and we get to have a special treat tonight. I am exceedingly happy to get to hear from our speaker tonight. We spent some time together down in Peru on a mission trip, not too many years ago, but a few years ago. But for tonight, he is now in Bogota, Colombia. Please welcome Joel Hund.
Hello. Good evening. Buenas noches. Yes, I'm here in Bogota, Colombia. My name is Dr. Joel Hund. I am a chiropractor, and I'm really happy to be here. So I was thinking we could get this Tuesday night Principal Chiro broadcast started off with I feel happy, I feel healthy, I feel terrific. However, I was thinking we could do it in Spanish. So you can say I feel, and then you can say happy, and then you can say healthy, and then terrific. So happy is feliz, healthy is saludable, and terrific is terrifico. So everybody with me, let's get this energy picked up for the broadcast tonight. So ready? 1, 2, 3. I feel feliz. I feel saludable. I feel terrifico. All right, that's what I'm talking about. That's the DE way, and it's just a absolute pleasure to be here. I want to start off with an attitude of gratitude, just thanking so many people that have helped me to get where I am today. I've been a chiropractor for 15 years. I've been practicing in South America for 15 years, and it's been an amazing journey. So some of those people I like to thank. Number one, Tim Warner. He's the person that helped me arrive at DE. And he was the first person to tell me about it 10 years ago. And then, of course, Dr. Walter Sanchez, the Peruvian prince, such an amazing person, an amazing chiropractor. And he's just one of my idols and somebody that I really look up to. And then, of course, the whole DE crew. As Don mentioned, we had a wonderful opportunity where we did a mission trip down in Peru that I'll mention here in a little bit. And also my wife, Juanita Velasquez. She's everything to me, and I'm just so happy to be with her and very happy to be here with you guys. So a little bit of my personal history. I'm from Kansas. I'm from a small town in Paxico, Kansas. I grew up, out in the country, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do when I was growing up. And my father was actually the first person in our family to go to a chiropractor, and he was, having a problem with his back. So that's, why he went for the first time, and he started receiving chiropractic care. But the interesting thing is, my father always suffered from allergies, and the allergies were just terrible. He had like hay fever, and he would always have to take all types of medicine, and he just suffered from this problem for more than 40 years. And then once he started receiving chiropractic care, maybe like 6 months into receiving chiropractic, one day he just woke up and the allergies were gone, and he was just amazed by this. And then he started talking to the family about how he was going to the chiropractor, and we always thought it was because of his back pain. But then once he started talking about how it helped his allergies, I was like, well, that's really interesting, because it's something that I think, you wouldn't think it has anything to do with the spine. But then he's like, well, you should go and see this chiropractor. And he was in Manhattan, Kansas. And I went and saw him, and I'll never forget that day, the first time that I went to a chiropractic office. And I was there waiting to do like a job shadow, because I was, 15 years old, and wanted to shadow the chiropractor to see what it was like. And I'll never forget that day, because I was just watching the people going in and out of, of the adjusting room. And they would go in, and you could see they were hobbling, or they could see on their face if they were unhappy. And then just like 3 minutes later, they would come out like a different person. And I had never seen chiropractic before. I had no idea what it was. And once I saw that, I was like, wow, what is that doctor doing in there? Like, how is it that he can change their life so quickly? And so then I got to go in there and observe, and see how the doctor, he was an activator doc, and how he did the adjustment. And I was just blown away. I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And I asked him about the case of my dad. I was like, well, how did you help my dad with the allergies? I understood the thing about the back pain, but how is it that that happened? And he was like, well, Joel, there's an intimate connection between the nervous system and the spine. And your nervous system is controlling absolutely everything in your body, including your defense mechanism. And that was like one of the moments where it was just like, oh wow, this is so much bigger. This is such an amazing thing that is occurring, in this chiropractic office. And so then that's when I decided that's what I want to do. I want to be a chiropractor, and I want to help people, and I want to, do it in a natural way. And so that was my goal. And so then I went to school, and I went to Logan Chiropractic School, and where unfortunately I didn't get a lot of the principle, a lot of the philosophy of chiropractic. The information that was given to me was very mechanistic, as to help us pass the boards. There was a little bit of philosophy, but I didn't have any idea about the principles. And all those things were things that I learned later on, and once I started in practice. So while I was in school, I had some patients that were Spanish speaking patients, and I was really interested in speaking Spanish and being able to help people from other countries. And I always thought about the opportunity of maybe going to another country and practicing chiropractic as opposed to practicing in the U.S. And so as soon as when I graduated, I thought I was going to go to practice chiropractic in a job that I like, the first job that I was able to find that was accepted in Colorado. But it actually turned out that God had another plan for me. I thought I was going to go to Colorado. One day I got a call from the doctor there in this multidisciplinary practice, and he said, well, we found somebody else. And then the very next day, I got a call from a chiropractic company in Peru. and I had been talking with them earlier, but I wasn't sure, what was going to happen there. And they're like, "Yeah, we have an opportunity for you in down in Peru." And so I took a jump. I was like, "Let's do this. This is an amazing opportunity for me. This is something that I've never, even considered before. Just going down by myself to another country to practice chiropractic, where I really didn't know the language yet." And so I went down there and just started serving. And I was in south of Lima, Peru, in a small town where nobody spoke English. It was a challenge. Obviously, the communication, knowing how to communicate with your staff, and then obviously with the patients, it was a huge challenge. But I that was when I started to learn more about the principle of chiropractic, because some of the patients that I saw while I was there, it was just amazing. I have people coming in where they didn't even have a wheelchair, like they couldn't walk, and they were brought in with, like, literally the person was being carried by a sheet and like two other people, because they were in such a bad state of health. And I remember I had the person lay down on the table, and I checked their spine, and I started to do the first adjustment. And as soon as I made that first adjustment in the cervical spine, their eyes just like came back to life. It was just such an amazing experience. And then that person that very same day actually walked out of the office. It was something that only innate intelligence that can explain, only life expression. And I was so amazed, once I started getting into practice, at how chiropractic can just change somebody's life. And I started to, obviously learn the language, and I was able to communicate better. And as I communicated better, the practice grew, and I just had so many amazing opportunities where somebody comes into your office and they have no idea whatsoever what chiropractic is. There's no preconceived notions. This was actually a great thing, because nobody knew what chiropractic was. You were the first person that you could tell them exactly what it is that we do, and tell the story, and give them the principle. And it was such, the experience was was such a growth for me, because I didn't get that in school. I didn't know those type of things, and then I started to learn them. And I practiced in Peru for actually 8 years. And I stopped working for the company where I was working, and then I opened up my own office in 2013. And I had really no idea like what I was doing. I was practicing chiropractic, but I didn't really know how to build a practice. And so, one day Tim Warder, we were talking, and he's like, you should go to DE. And I was like, DE, what's that all about? And he's like, well, it's just this huge, big family, and they just love on you, and it's such an amazing thing. And so I was like, okay, let's do it. And I remember the first DE that I went to, I think it was in 2014, 10 years ago. And just being there, just being around all these people, all these like-minded individuals that had a very similar way of thinking, and people that were principled chiropractors that knew how to turn on the power. And it was it was something that that I hadn't really experienced before, and it was new to me, but I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I was like, yeah, this is what I need. This is where I can grow. This was where I can shed the husks. This is where I can learn how to be more of a servant, and have that lasting purpose lifestyle. So I started going to DE. I wasn't able to go all the time, because I lived in South America, but every time I went, I had beautiful experiences. I remember one experience was with Walter Sanchez, where we were able to write on a piece of paper. I can't remember exactly who the speaker was at the time, but write on a piece of paper something that is really special to you, or something that somebody else has done for you. And I remember Walter wrote on a piece of paper that he was just so happy and grateful to me that I was serving his people because he's from Peru, Walter Sanchez, and he was the first chiropractor in Peru. And he was so grateful that I was there serving his people, and I was really proud. It was a proud moment for me. And then I remember, I believe it was that same seminar where we were sitting out at the pool and we were like, we should do a mission trip in Peru. And I was like, yeah, that's a great idea. You think the DE family would come down and they would be interested in, serving people? And he was like, yes, absolutely. So we, in 2016, we set up this mission trip, and it wasn't just a mission trip where, we just go and you serve a bunch of people. We obviously did that, but we also at the same time set up a seminar that was directed at the general public so that we could get the message out into the city so that more people could understand the message of chiropractic. We had, doctors that were speaking in English, we had doctors that were speaking in Spanish, and it was just a fabulous event. We had such an amazing time. I remember like some of the highlights from that was there was a special trip. After we were at the places where we went at Justy, we went to this orphanage, and there were these kids there that they were just extremely subluxated. I remember just watching Walter working with these kids, and it was just amazing just watching him restoring life in these kids. And I think, when you do a mission trip, I think Brian talked about this at the last DE. It's just something that changes your life in a positive way, because when you practice in Latin America, when you practice in a third world country, your your outlook on life changes. You see things differently. You um you know you don't need all the materialistic things. You don't think about all those type of things. You think about what's most important, and what's most important to people in Latin America is their family, their family and love, and things that we can relate to with DE. But when you serve people in a country like in Peru or in Colombia, which is where I live now, you have that opportunity to just be the light, be a guiding light for them, and just help people, that are really not, they're so lost. They don't have any idea, about the potential. And when your nervous system is free, when that innate intelligence is flowing from above down, inside out, it's just an amazing thing. And so we had a fantastic mission trip. Tim Warner was there, and Steve Judson, and of course Dawn. She was there. She had an amazing time. There was a bunch of the DE gang there. We had a great trip, and it was a very memorable experience. And then the following year, what I decided was I knew what I was going to do. I thought I was going to go to Costa Rica and live and practice there, because that was always my dream. I went to Costa Rica before I even started chiropractic school, and I was, living there, and that's where I first started to learn Spanish. And I met a chiropractor that was working in an office there, and I was like, wow, practicing chiropractic in Latin America, that's just amazing. That's something that I want to do. And so, I first went to Peru. I lived there for 8 years. And then I was like, okay, it's time to go to Costa Rica. So I actually went to Costa Rica. I was living there. I actually had rented out a space. I was trying to do my process to, set up things legally. And I was just getting all these roadblocks. And it was just becoming more and more difficult all the time. And what I found out was that God had another plan for me. My plan was not to be in Costa Rica. There are some amazing chiropractors in Costa Rica. There are some amazing people like Robbie Henderson, that's a good friend of mine, that helped me, to get there. But what I found out was, in life, you sometimes you don't know where it is that you are going. You think you might know, but there's just a completely different direction that you're supposed to go, and you just have to listen to God, and be present, and obviously be aware, humble, and obedient to that voice within, and know that what you're doing is the right way. And so I just, while I was in Costa Rica, I got a message from a chiropractor that was living and working here in Bogota, and he said, "Hey, can you come down and cover my office for a couple of weeks?" And I was like, "Okay, yeah, that's fine. I'm not doing anything at the time." And so I went to Bogota. I started covering his office, and I just absolutely loved it. I was like, "This is such an amazing place, and the people are so nice." And it was, pure chiropractic, of course. And all the offices that I've worked in, all the offices that I've had have been, 100% cash practices. And it's just such a beautiful thing because once I got here to Colombia, it just felt right. It felt like I was in the right place, and I was like, I was following my friend within. I was listening to my friend within. I knew that I was doing the right thing. And 2 months later, I met my wonderful wife Juanita, and now we've been married for almost 5 years. So, that's my story. I've been here working in Bogota for the last 5 years with my own office, and it's just been a real beautiful trip. And when you when you work in the office and you're seeing people as a complete pioneer, meaning that there's very few other chiropractors that are in your city that practice pure um, you know subluxation based chiropractic. It's something that's very special because you can help a lot of people, and you can bring that message into your community, and you can make big changes in your community. So when when you have patients that come into the office, I was a lot about Dr. Sid in one of his books, The Road to Success Starts in the Heart. He was talking about authority and how important it is to speak with authority when he's talking about the story with the lion tamer. And there's just this one part that I want to read with you guys that I really thought was fantastic. And he basically says, "The more you speak with authority, the greater is your belief. And the greater your belief, the better you are at speaking with authority. As your ability to speak with authority and your belief in yourself are strengthened, your vision becomes stronger. And as your vision becomes stronger, your belief and ability to speak with authority is increased." That's so important because we see people that, they're coming in, they have no idea what it is that we do. And we have to speak with absolute authority in order to, you know, get them to understand and empower them, and to shed light on them, and just turn on the power. But if you don't do it with authority, if you don't have that certainty when you speak, when you talk about the principle, and you will not get through to the person. They will not understand. And as a lion tamer was able to tame a lion with the tone of his voice, the gestures, the way that he speaks, and he does it with absolute love. That just makes so much sense. And I've been working on that a lot lately, thinking about, am I speaking with authority? Am I getting through to these people? Do they really understand the message of chiropractic? And obviously it's a process. It's something that every day we just need to keep working on and improving upon. But once you once you get through to someone and they actually really understand it, and they get the big idea, and then they start wanting to bring in their friends and family, that's how you build a practice. And as Michael Halloran said, your ability, the amount of people that you can see is directly proportional to your ability to love. And when you are absolutely loving the people that come in and see you unconditionally, just loving them just because that's what you do, they feel that love and they resonate with that love, and they just want to see you. Then you become like a magnet, and you attract more people, and your practice starts to grow, and you start to to flourish and see more and more abundance. But we have to be a hollow vessel. We have to be aware, humble, and obedient to to the voice of God, to the will of God within us. We just allow that life force, the energy that flows from above down, inside out. When you have your hands on those people, when you're touching the spine, when you're getting ready to deliver the goods, to make that adjustment, you have to be present. You can't be thinking about anything else. You have to be 100% present with that person, and knowing that when you turn on the power, that you're going to change that person's life. And when you speak with authority, when you speak with love, when you come from a place of complete peace and tranquility, when you have your mind and your heart are connected, then you can get through to so many people, and you can help so many people. And if there's any students watching this, when I was a student, I really didn't know these type of things. I didn't understand that this is what real chiropractic was. And if you have the opportunity to go to DE, if you've already been to DE, or if you can go there in the future, the next DE is in July. That is the opportunity for you. That is where you can really learn about the principle of chiropractic. Talk to the other doctors, talk to the speakers. It's such a beautiful place because everybody is open. You can just go up to somebody and talk to them about anything, and that's one of the beautiful things about DE. And when I was there, I would just try and get as much information from everybody. We're standing on the shoulders of giants. Success leaves clues. So when you have that opportunity to learn from somebody else, you got to take advantage of that. So go to DE, because it's such it's such an amazing place where you can learn so much, and just become a more abundant human being. And that was something that I've learned. And I not not very happy that I wasn't able to go for a long period of 5 years, but I was able to go to the last DE in Clearwater, and it was a wonderful experience. And I hope to be at the next DE in July, and just keep learning and keep working, and keep turning the crank, and keep telling the story. You got to testify when when we when we go out there every day. This comes from a talk I was listening to of Dick Santo. You got to ask yourself, do you want to be a wolf, or do you want to be a dog? The wolf works in a pack. He's not afraid of anything. He's not afraid of anyone. Nobody is going to control him. He knows exactly what he wants to do. He knows exactly what his purpose is. He knows where he's going. He knows exactly, what he needs to be doing in life. And and on the other hand is the dog. Dogs are wonderful. They're beautiful, um, and they're part of our lives. But at the same time, they don't have that you know that that uh, that ability to know exactly what they need to do. They're led by a leash. They're not they're not an animal that is a leader, or a wild animal that knows exactly where it wants to go or what it needs to do. So when you go out there to work tomorrow, think about that. Think about, do I want to be a wolf, or do I want to be a dog? Because we need to be wolves. There's so many people that are suffering. There's so many people that need our help in the U.S., in South America, in all different parts of the world. So we need to be that light. We need to be that lighthouse, that guiding light to help lead the way. So work on your adjusting, work on learning the principle, and learning how to speak the principle, how to communicate the principle, but most importantly, how to love your patients, and love them unconditionally, and give to give, love to love, serve to serve, and be an abundant human being, because that's what we're put on this earth to do. We were chosen to be chiropractors, so we need to stand up and be chiropractors, be real principled chiropractors, and get out there tomorrow and just kick butt. I love and appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. And yeah, if anybody wants to come down to Colombia, it would be an absolute honor. It, we would love to have you come down, and everybody have a great night. Thank you so much.
Amazing talk, Joel. Thank you so much. It was so great to hear your heart and hear your power and focus and all the wonderful things you're doing down south. You can't hear me. Can you hear us now? Yeah. All right. Well, I was simply thanking you. I was loving your heart. It was fantastic to hear your story and just share your love and your passion. Being obedient is definitely something that has um, been one of the biggest things I've taken away from DE. Just it's so powerful, so powerful.
Yeah,
You got a lot of love and a lot of comments coming at you too. Everybody wants to come down south and go hang out in South America with you.
everybody's welcome. Yeah, Colombia is amazing. It's such an amazing place to live and practice, and travel all around, and it's great. And shout out to my wife Juanita. She's she's the rock, basically. She's such an amazing person, and she helps out our office so much, and I've grown so much with her, and I'm just really happy to be here on this journey with her, and happy to share with you guys. I hope that everybody got something out of my talk today, and if you anybody wants to reach out, feel free. I would love to chat. If you want to learn more about what it's like to practice in South America, or what are some of the trials and tribulations, then I'm here to listen. I'm here to give as much information as I can.
So good to see you thriving, man. So good to see you thriving. I love it.
Thanks.
All right, everybody. That's going to wrap up this week's DE call. And we will see you next week. Everybody have a great week. All right.
Have a great week.
Good night.
Good night.